Hello everyone, this is Mayuk Mazumdar and I'm back with another exciting session. So let's proceed.
Welcome to the fourth session in this series where I'll be preaching MySQL. In this session, the first component that we will be studying about is creating and using a database. Once you know how to enter a SQL statement, you are ready to access a database. Suppose that you have several pets in your home and you would like to keep track of various types of information about them. You can do so by creating tables to hold your data and loading them with the desired information. Then you can answer different sorts of questions about your animals by retrieving data from the table. This section shows you how to perform the several operations, namely creating a database, creating a table, loading data into the table, then retrieving data from the table in various ways and using various tables. Here, I'll be using a database which is simple but is not difficult to think of real-world solutions in which a similar type of database might be used. For example, the database like this could be used by a farmer to keep track of livestock or by a veterinarian to keep track of patient records. A Minigree distribution contains some of the queries and sample data used in the following section. The sample data can be easily available in both compressed tar file and zip format in this location. Here in this URL, if you go, then simply you can download the data that I'll be using for this session. We use the show statement to find out what databases currently exist on the server. Over here, I'll get to see that in my SQL server, I have three databases. One is the MySQL database, one is test, and the other is temp. The MySQL database describes user access privileges. The test database often is available as a workspace for users to try things out. The list of databases displayed by the statement may be different on your machine. Show databases does not show databases that you have no privilege from if you don't have the show database privilege. If the test database exists, try to access it using the command use test. When you do so, you get the output database changed. Use like quit does not require a semicolon. You can terminate such statements with a semicolon if you like. It does no harm. The use statement is special in another way too. It must be given on a single line. You can use the test database if you have access to it for the example that follow. But anything you create on the database can be removed by anyone else with access to it. For this reason, you should probably ask your MySQL administrator for permission to use a database of your own. Suppose that you want to call your Minigree database. The administrator needs to execute a statement like this. Grant all on Minigree to your username at your client host, where your MySQL name is the MySQL username assigned to you and your client host is the host from which you connect to the server. The next is creating and selecting a database. If the administrator creates your database for you when setting up your permissions, you can begin using it. Otherwise, you need to create it for yourself. To create a database, you can simply use the command create database space database name. Under Unix, database names are case sensitive, unlike SQL keywords. So you must always refer to your database as Minigree. This is also true for table names. Under Windows, this restriction does not apply, although you must refer to databases and tables using the same letter case. although a given query. However, for a variety of reasons, the recommended best practice is always to use the same letter case that was used with the database when the database was created. Creating a database does not select it for use. You can do that explicitly. To make Minigree that the current database, use this statement: use Minigree. When doing so, the database changes. Your database needs to be created only once, but you must select it for use each time you begin a MySQL session. The next is creating a table. Creating the database is the easy part, but at this point it is empty, as show tables tell you. The harder part is deciding what the structure of your database should be, what tables you need, and what columns should be in each of them. You want a table that contains a record for each of your pets. This can be called the pet table, and it should contain, as a bare minimum, each animal's name. Because the name by itself is not very interesting, the table should contain other information. For example, if more than one person in your family keeps pets, you might want to list each animal's owner. You might also want to record some basic descriptive information, such as species and their sex. How about age? That might be of interest, but it is not a good thing to store in a database. Age changes as time passes, which means you would have to update your record often. Instead, it is better to store a fixed value, such as the date of birth. Then, whenever you need age, you can calculate it as the difference between the current date and the birth date. MySQL provides function for doing date arithmetic, and so this is not at all difficult. Storing birth date rather than age has other advantages too. You can use the database for tasks such as generating reminders for upcoming pet birthdays. If you think this type of query is somewhat silly, note that it's the same question you might ask in the context of a business database to identify clients to whom you need to send out birthday greetings in the current week or month for their computer-assisted personal touch. You can calculate age in relation to dates other than the current date. For example, if you store death date in the database, you can easily calculate how old a pet was when it died. You can probably think of other type of information that would be useful in the pet table, but the ones identified so far are sufficient: name, owner, species, sex, birth, and death. Now we will be using the create table followed by the table name, in our case it's pet, to specify the layout of your table. So over here I have used the create table pet followed by the field names and their types for in this manner for all, then having a semicolon at the end. Varchar is a good choice for the name, owner and species column because the column values vary in length. The lengths in this column definition need not be all the same and need not be 20. You can normally pick any length from 1 to 65535, whatever seems most reasonable to you. If you make a poor choice and it turns out later that you need a longer field, MySQL provides an alter table statement. Several types of value can be chosen to represent sex in animal records, such as M and F, or perhaps male and female. It is simplest to use a single character, M and F. To use the data type for the birth and death column is a fairly obvious choice. Once you have created the table, now you can use the show table command to show which should produce some output. Over here you will get to see initially it was an empty set, but now it shows in Minigree database is pet. To verify that your table was created the way you expected, you can use the describe statement. Using this describe followed by the table name, you will get to see the field names, the data type of each field, and various other. Here null shows that whether can that field have a null value or null entry for any row. Is it the key value corresponding to the shows? Is it a primary key or a composite key or secondary key? Or the default value shows over here shows null, which means there are no default values for each entry and one have to exclusively fill in to store data, and if there are any extra fields. You can describe anytime. For example, if you forget the name of the column in your table or what goes or what types they have, you can simply use this describe command. The next is loading data into a table. After creating a table, you need to populate it. The load data and insert statement are useful for this. Suppose that your pet record can be described as shown here. Observe that MySQL expects date in YYYY-mm-dd format. This may differ from what you are used to. Because you are beginning with an empty table, an easy way to populate is to create a text file containing row for each of your animals, then load the content of the file into the table with a single statement. You can create a text file named as pet.txt containing one record per line with values separated by tabs and given in the order in which the columns were listed in the create table statement. For missing values such as unknown sexes or death days for animals that is still living, you can use null values. To represent this in your text file, use /n, then capital N. To load the text file pet.txt into the pet table, use this statement. Load data local in file, then the path to your pet.txt followed by into table followed by table name. If you created the file on Windows with an editor that used /r and /n as a line terminator, you should use this statement instead. Load data local in file followed by within quotes the path to your pet.txt followed by into table, then table name, and then lines terminated by /r/n. On the Apple machine running macOS, you could likely want to use lines terminated by /r. You can specify the column value, separator, and end of line marker explicitly into the load data statement if you wish, but the defaults are tab and line fit. There are sufficient for the statement to read the file pet.txt properly. If the statement fails, it is likely that your MySQL installation does not have local file capabilities enabled by default. When you want to add new record one at a time, the insert statement is useful. In its simplest form, you can supply values for each column in the order in which the columns were listed in the create table statement. Suppose that Diane gets a new hamster named Puffball. You could add a new record using the insert statement like this. Insert into table name, then values, and within parentheses each value followed by a comma. And finally the terminating semicolon to mark the end of the statement. Strings and date values are specified as quoted strings here. Also with insert, you can insert none directly to represent a missing value. You do not use \N like you do with load data. From this example, you should be able to see that there would be a lot more typing involved to load your records initially using several insert statements rather than a single load data instrument. The next is retrieving information from a table. The select statement is used to pull information from a table. The general form of the statement is select, what to select, from which table, followed by where, what conditions to satisfy. Finally, the terminating semicolon. If you wish to select all the data, the simplest form of selecting retrieves everything from a table is select star from table name followed by semicolon. This form of select is useful if you want to retrieve the entire table, for example after you have just loaded it with your initial dataset. For example, you may happen to think that the birth date for browser does not seem quite right. Consulting your original pedigree papers, you find that the correct birth year should be 1989, not 1979. There are two ways to fix this. First, edit the file pet.txt to correct the error, then empty the table and reload it using delete and load table. So you delete from pet and then again insert the load data local in file, then path to your pet.txt into table pet. However, if you do this, you must also re-enter the records for puffball. Then you should fix only the erroneous record with an update statement. Using this statement, MySQL, here update the table name. Then you set the column name equal to the value where name equal to browser. The update changes only the record in question and does not require you to reload the table. You can also select particular rows. As shown in the preceding section, it is easy to retrieve an entire table. Just omit the where clause from the select statement, but typically you don't want to see the entire table, particularly when it becomes too large. Instead, you are usually more interested in answering a particular question, in which case you specify some constraint on the information you want. Let's look at some selection queries in terms of questions about your pets that they answer. You can select only particular rows from your table. For example, if you want to verify the changes that you made to your browser's birth date, select browser's record like this. Select star from table name where name equal to browser. The output confirms that the year is correctly recorded as 1989 and not 1979. String comparisons normally are case sensitive, so if you can specify the name browser in all caps or in all upper cases, so forth, the query result is the same. You can specify conditions on any column, not just name. For example, if you want to know which animals were born during or after 1998, test the birth column as select star from pet, which is the table name, where birth greater than equal to 1/1/1998. You can combine conditions, for example, to locate female dogs by giving select star from pet where species equal to dog and sex equal to F. The preceding query uses the AND logical operator. There is also an OR logical operator like this. You are using select star from the table name where species equal to snake or species equal to bird. Then you will get the output is such. AND or OR may be intermixed, although AND has higher precisions than OR. If you use both operators, it is a good idea to use parentheses to indicate explicitly how conditions should be grouped. For example, select star from pet where within parentheses species equal to cat and species equal and sex equal to M, or species equal to dog and sex equal to F. You can also select particular column. If you do not want to see the entire rows from your table, just name the column in which you are interested, separated by commas. For example, if you want to know when your animal were born, select the name and the birth column. Or if you want to find out who owns pets, use this query. Notice that the query simply retrieves the owner column from each record, and some of them appear to more than once. To minimize your output, retrieve each unique output record just by adding the keyword distinct. Then select distinct owner from pet. You can use a where clause to combine row selection with column selection. For example, to get birth dates for dog and cats only, use this query. Select name, species, birth from pet where species equal to dog or species equal to cat. You can also sort rows in a table. You may have noticed in the preceding example that the result rows are displayed in no particular order. It is often easier to examine query output when the rows are sorted in some meaningful way. To sort a result, use an order by clause. Here, the animal birthdays sorted by death. Select name, birth from pet order by birth. You can sort on multiple columns and you can sort different columns in different directions. For example, to sort by type of animal in ascending order, then by birth date within animal type in descending order, youngest animal first, that is, use the following query. Select name, species, birth from pet order by species, birth in DESC, descending order. The DESC keyword applies only to the column name immediately preceding it, that is the birth. It does not affect the species column sort order. You can also perform date calculations. MySQL provides several functions that you can use to perform calculations on date. For example, to calculate ages or extract parts of date. To determine how many years old each of your pet is, use the timestamp function. Its arguments are the unit in which you want to see the result expressed and the two dates for which to take the difference. The following query shows for each pet the birth date and the current date and the age in years. An alias age is used to make the final output column label more meaningful. Select name, birth, cur date, timestamp difference in years from the birth and current date as age. Here age is the alias from the table pet, and here is the output. We can also handle null values in MySQL. The null values can be surprising until you get used to it. Conceptually, null means a missing unknown value, and it is treated somewhat differently from the other values. To test for null, use the isNull and isNotNull operator as shown here. Select one isNull, 1 isNotNull. Then you can do pattern matching using MySQL. MySQL provides standard SQL pattern matching as well as a form of pattern matching based on extended regular expressions similar to those used by Unix utilities such as VI, grep, and etcd. SQL pattern matching enables you to use to match any single character and percentage to match an arbitrary number of characters, including 0 characters. In MySQL, SQL patterns are case sensitive by default. Some examples are shown here. Do not use equal to or greater than or lower than when you use SQL patterns. Use the like or not like comparison operators instead. Here I am finding the names beginning with B. The next we have is you can count rows. Databases are often needed to answer the question, how often does a certain type of data occur in a table? For example, you might want to know how many pets you have or how many pets each owner has. Counting the total number of animals you have is the same question as how many rows are in the pet table, because there is one record per pet. So count star counts the number of rows. So the query to count your animal looks like this. Select count star from table name. So in this session, we have tried preaching you how to use how to create the database, how to create the tables, then populate data into the tables, and finally retrieve them in various formats. Also, you can alter or update and manipulate with the database table. So this was all for this session. Thank you. Have a great day.